love Luxie Beauty, and we love clean, we love clean beauty. We love eco-friendly, sustainable, recyclable beauty. That's what we're all about. And so I'd love to hear your story, all about, how you got started with a brand, talk all about, how the brand started and what sets you guys apart from, all the other brands out there that are doing this. Because you guys seem to really have a unique take on, sustainable makeup tools. Which most people don't.
Yeah.
So, tell me first off, where are you based? Are you up in Northern California? Is that right?
Yeah. We're in Northern California, in San Jose, born and bred, and I myself am a California native and grew up here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, cool. Another Californian. I'm from LA, born and raised in the Valley. I'm a Valley girl.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So, and have you always worked in this type of an industry, or were you? No, you're more of a finance guy, right? Or
yeah, so I started my career in finance and working in venture capital and private equity, and then I went sailing on a sailboat down in Mexico, and I got to explore reefs and hung out with fish and communed with nature that way. It was so magical. And while I was doing all of that, I was still kind of working on a part-time basis on some projects that interest me, and that's how I discovered Luxie. Luxie was founded by Tammy Wynn, who wanted to find something in cruelty-free vegan synthetic brushes, but way back in 2014, that was kind of difficult to do. A lot of the synthetic brushes were essentially just like plastic brushes that clumped, that abraded, that weren't soft, that were not necessarily that great at picking up product. So she wanted to do something that was a little different in the space, and that got me really excited. So we teamed up, and I got off the boat and came to San Jose. And
wait, how long were you on this boat?
5 years.
Stop!
It was
really?
So much fun.
Wait, so how big was the boat?
So it sounds really small. It was a 36-foot sailboat, an Islander 36, which was amazing. So this is like a boat that's like a floating apartment. So it's got a bed and facilities and everything, and it was as big as any one person could manage comfortably, and still have a life below.
You were with other people or by yourself?
Well, it was me and my partner. We went sailing and had a great time.
How fun!
And it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. And so that was a big moment in my life. 5 years of exploring the Sea of Cortez and Puerto Vallarta, Banderas Bay, Manzanillo, Mazatlan. Yeah. So if anybody's going to Mexico, it's vacation advice. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not on a boat down there right now.
Yeah, I would.
But
I don't be around anymore. But
but it was a magical time, and as a sailor and explorer, it was something that I really loved. And when my daughter was born, we made the decision to come back to the States, and so came back to the States and sort of started life here in the Bay Area once again. And that's about the same time that I plugged into Luxie, and it originally as more of a financial advisor to the company, and then that role evolved into working with them to secure sales contracts, helping with product development, flying around to manufacturers, and then Tammy asked me to come in as CEO, and I took over and haven't looked back.
Well, that's an amazing story. And you guys, I mean, from what I can see, the brand has exploded. I mean, it really is. You guys are available everywhere. Sephora and
We're not in Sephora yet, although we're hoping that we'll be there soon. But we're in Nordstrom, Macy's,
Right.
Anthropologie, Revolve. A lot of niche retailers carry us, and
Okay.
then the large online stores. And we really are so excited that the brand has been embraced by everyone, and we're international. So in the UK, we're with Look Fantastic. We're in Birchboxes all over the place. Glossy Box. We're in Douglas, which is a big retailer in Europe. We
Mhm.
have just incredible luck with our vendor partners that understand the brand value
Mhm.
and understand what we're trying to do, and that's allowed the brand to really explode. And
Mhm.
the more exposure that we get,
Mhm.
we're able to also tell our story, which we're really excited about. So it's like, here's this incredible brand that's standing behind these truly highly functional, professional grade makeup products in the form of brushes and applicators. And we're doing it in a unique way where our core values of giving back, of focus on the environment, our partnership with the World Wildlife Fund, our partnership with really small charities. It's been pretty fun and pretty incredible.
Can you talk a little bit about the story behind Luxie and what you've done since you've been with the brand, and how you've done, kind of like talk a little bit about your partnerships with the World Wide Fund and how you've come to
Absolutely.
become this, making these brushes in such a sustainable way with renewable resources that, you know,
Yeah, well, I think that, whenever you come into the consumer product world, you're challenged immediately by the massive scale of consumption. I mean, it's consumer products, it's plastics, it's shipping, it's carbon footprints, it's all of this horrible stuff that I saw firsthand on the deck of my own sailboat in Mexico, looking into the water and seeing plastics and other things that are polluting, seeing the effects of that on sea life. And I knew that I wanted to make a difference in whatever my work life was going to be once I came back to the real world, once I came back from cruising, once I came back from sailing. So Luxie was really an opportunity for me to leverage our core values, which center around empowering all people to express themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, makeup brushes, it's a form of self-expression.
Mhm.
And we have an incredible team of people here that fortunately really lit on the idea of focusing on the earth, focusing on the environment, and focusing on what we could do to make that better.
Mhm.
So when we were looking for potential partners in terms of nonprofits that we could work with to really deliver against our goal of creating sort of a better place, particularly environmentally focused charities, we needed to find somebody that had the wherewithal to really deliver in a meaningful way across a couple of different initiatives. So when we were looking for different partnerships, the reason why the World Wildlife Fund was so important for us
Mhm.
is because they're looking at preserving environment and endangered species, and they're also looking at reducing plastics in oceans.
Mhm.
And so the combination of the two really resonated with where we stand as a company, wanting to both create better environments, protect endangered animals, and clean up the plastics in the ocean. So that's really where it came from. It was a culmination of us taking the next step on our sort of key corporate values with the team here, and then
Right.
finding a group that could kind of be you know, that all-inclusive platform that aligned with what we wanted to do.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's amazing. Tell me a little bit about what your brushes are actually made out of.
Well, so our brushes are not really too different than the mainstream brushes, but it's the way that we do it. So when you have a brush, I mean, brushes are really basic things. They only essentially have three different components. There's the handle, the ferrule, and then the bristles themselves. So the handle, in our case, we use wood that's sustainably farmed
Right.
through farms in Southeast Asia. We track the certification to make sure that there's no human rights violations, that there's no ecological problems or red flags that have been raised there. The ferrules, we use material that can be recycled, and that is recycled, and that is processed humanely as well. One of the things that I'll point out is this is actually kind of a difficult thing to do in our industry, because the ferrule and metal dyeing process associated with colors in the ferrule can be quite toxic, and can be a lot of really nasty chemicals that that create a horrific working experience. And I've walked the factory floor, and literally your shoes start dissolving when you're walking the floor because of how toxic the chemicals are. So here are these poor workers, there's no clocks in the place, and they just sort of know from how long they're working there, how long to put the metal in these chemicals. They're wearing these giant rubber boots with thick soles, in t-shirts, sweltering heat in the tropics. And I'm walking through there trying to perform an evaluation, and I'm literally saying, we need to close this place and never come back. This is awful. Yeah. So that firsthand experience helped really kind of color what we do in making our ferrules that set us apart. It's more of a scientific process. We're using components that have been responsibly sourced, and you don't have to worry about your shoes dissolving when you walk through our
I'm just curious, like, where was that particular
that was in that particular experience was in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And that they're playing very fast and loose down there, you know. And I think that when you look at some of these manufacturing, these contract manufacturing groups, you really have to go and see the shop floor. You have to see where they're being manufactured, so that you can take control over your supply chain. Right. And I think more brands need to do that.
No, I 100% agree. I think that not only do these, brand owners need to do that, but, being transparent about it, like you are doing right now. Most consumers have no clue what is happening to people, or, maybe more now with the environment and animals, and sustainability and cruelty-free, those are all huge, catchphrases now. And I don't want to say it's a catchphrase, but it's true. And so people want to be cruelty-free, and they want to save the oceans, but what about human beings? Like, they have no idea what's happening, what people are going through to just make these products so that they could have a cute product in their makeup drawer to use and share on Instagram. Like, that's just insane to me. And so what do you have does Luxie have like certain certifications that you kind of put on your products to show that you are ethically sound, or I don't know what
there's a couple things, and exactly to your point, there's this groundswell of brands that are claiming to be sustainable, claiming to be vegan, claiming to be cruelty-free, and yet there's no real gold standard that can be applied universally across different products. So there are things in Europe, for example, there are things in the US, and it makes it really difficult to be able to be transparent to the consumer and the consumer facing. So really, this is such a great opportunity for us, because we get to share a little bit about our internal process, which, is a little too boring to put on the back of a box. But what we do is we have third-party auditors audit everything that we do. So they review, chemical composition in the paints, the manufacturing process, how the plants are run, how our supply chain is managed. And when we get these reports, we're able to make really intelligent decisions about what we do with our compliance to make sure that we're, are we working with someone where there's a human rights violation? are we working with someone that's not properly disposing of manufactured byproduct?
Right.
And unless you're willing to spend the money to get the reports, you really don't have visibility into the actual process. Now, I will say that some of the retail partners that we work with and some of the different groups that we work with, we've coordinated with them to provide those reports, or we'll encourage them to take a deeper look under the hood, because we do want to share that with them. And we hope that it encourages them to maybe embrace the methodology, because, ultimately, we make a product that you use on your face every day. We want to make sure that there's a certain level of safety there with the end consumer, and that they can see that we really are walking the walk. And so allowing our entire supply chain to be audited and implementing that gives us so much more information to make sure that we're able to comply with our own internal standards, and then encouraging kind of upstream, if you will, our retail partners to also share in that is really great. So we try to build kind of from beginning to end documentation process, so that we can really make sure that we're delivering the core values of the brand, but also so that we can share that with our retailers. But to your point, even though we have that, there's not like a little symbol or thing that we can put on the box that says, it's really frustrating. I wish as an industry we could kind of unite around what it means to be a vegan brand, a cruelty-free brand, talk about sustainability, talk about carbon offsets, talk about giving back. I think we really need to do some work as a community to build that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over. I mean, even clean beauty, it's, because I talk about clean beauty all the time, but really that's such a broad term. It's in itself, and, people have really kind of taken, advantage of that, and really kind of, things aren't necessarily clean, but, cleanish.
Clean it well, and then there's the trade-off. So I think clean beauty is such a difficult place to a difficult space, because the retailers themselves are trying to define clean beauty, and they define it in different ways.
Right.
So if somebody says, hey, we're clean beauty and we're in Credo, okay, great. We're clean beauty, we're in Sephora, okay, great. There's a difference in what that means. Yeah. And I'm not saying one is any worse or better than the other. Right. It's a difference. And the other side of it is that there's certain products out there that are in fact clean and clean beauty, but they don't work. And so where is the science behind how to take some of these products and actually make them function the way that they're supposed to?
Right. Well, yeah, you can mix, but it's not necessarily clean. And so, but it's efficacious, or it works, so. Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, this is becoming kind of like a product development discussion, but I love where like I could totally get into the clean beauty thing in such a much deeper way, because I feel like a lot of the designations for clean beauty on the retail level and the white lists and the black lists that get established are not shared directly with the consumer. And I think that really does a disservice to the industry, because it forces the consumer to almost rely on just sort of like marketing instead of like what's really there.
No. It really, I mean, I run a PR company, so I've been doing this for years. And so, it's so much of it is marketing, and it's like, it's scary a little bit, because who's doing the stuff? It's people that, companies that get hired by these brands to promote their products to make money. And so they'll do whatever they can and make claims that may not be 100% above board or ethical. But at the end of the day, if they're selling products and they're making money, it works. So anyways, but you, how many years have you been with Luxie? Crazy.
So I started with the company in 2015 and took over as CEO in 2018.
Okay. Was the brand, and the brand's been around since when? 2014 or?
2014,
Okay.
more or less, yeah.
And so their social media is enormous. Did you have a huge part in that when you came on, and because you guys work with a lot of influencers
Yeah.
and you
So
do a lot of the Ipsy, the boxes, and all that stuff.
yeah, so we've done all kinds of different sampling programs, and we do work with a lot of influencers. When I came on, the company had definitely had a pretty strong social media presence,
Mm-hmm.
but in the last, we've basically doubled our social media since 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and get a lot more traction than we had previously. And I think we're really focused more on building a community. We're tapping into community posts that tag us and bringing that into the website. We're always looking for people that are doing unique looks or trying something new. So that's been really fun. But social media has been a huge boost for the company.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very difficult because it's social media. So it changes every day
Yeah.
and it's crazy out there. So, but it's been fun.
Yeah, no, I saw you got a huge presence. I mean, I can't imagine, just from a from a PR perspective, like how much product you guys have gone through to get the breadth of influencers' attention, and all of those giftings and all that stuff to get
Yeah, it's
posts. It's got to be
it's
wild.
it's amazing. And I have to credit our office team here that particularly our office manager Janine, who hand packages all of those PR kits,
Hmm.
and she just does them with love. So the wrapping paper and stickers and all of the fun stuff that we do,
Mhm.
we really try to make it an experience for people that are
Mhm.
in some cases finding our brand for the first time.
Yeah,
So
I know you'd think, oh, you haven't heard of us before, but there's still so many people out there that haven't yet. But that's what's so
yeah,
exciting about continuing the growth. So,
yeah.
what
And
it?
and and that's one of our initiatives coming into this next year is really going to be a lot of education for people on the retail side.
Uh-huh.
So our Nordstrom partnership, our Macy's partnership, Anthropology, everything, so that I walk into Nordstrom and they know, oh, can I help you find something?
Yeah.
I sort of stick out like a sore thumb in the cosmetic section of the store, so they're obviously thinking maybe I'm buying a gift or something.
Yeah.
And then I ask about Luxie, and they say, "Oh, I've never heard of
I know,
that."
right? Yeah, that's a whole other business, having to educate those sales teams throughout the country that
Yeah.
carry your products. It's a beast.
Oh, it's really tough. And I think with the changing landscape in retail, it's really on the brands to
Yeah.
be the advocate to build that connection and connect with not just the buyers and the corporate team, but the people that are actually interacting with the customers every day.
Hmm.
But it's also really fun to hear their side of the story and hear what they run into.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I have too. I've gone into stores and I've looked for my client's brand and they're like, oh, I've never heard of that before. And then I'll go around and I'll find out. I'm like, oh, it's right there. It's on a side. It's on an end cap. Oh,
Right,
like, oh,
right,
yeah. All right, I want pretend like you didn't say that.
right. No, I know. And
So education, what else is going on in the new year or in the next couple quarters for Luxie Beauty?
well, I think that we've seen this massive growth on the e-com side, and that boom has created a lot of noise in the digital marketplace. And so I think that the brand story and the way that you connect with customers
Mm-hmm.
is going to become really important over time, because without it you're not really creating a point of difference. You're not really creating something that people can attach themselves to.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us as a company anyway, 2021 is really going to be about telling our own story, raising awareness for causes that we believe in, and rallying around the core values and community aspect of that. You know, we do a lot at Luxie, just, you know, giving back. We were working with a women's shelter yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Just again, just no one really thinks of this stuff, but if you've lost your job, you've come out of an abusive situation, you're not thinking makeup brushes, you're not thinking, you know, how to sort of take back your power, take back your own way of sort of facing the world, and then you have to get your life together. And so we find that we can help that way. We also did a virtual food drive for the Second Harvest Food Bank, and another food drive for another national food fundraiser. Five for Hunger is the name of it. But it you know, and so we want to build more of a community to do these things. So it's not just the company doing them, but it's the company and the community, and sort of building our identity that way, because I think there's going to be more of a need as the pandemic continues to kind of address that. There's a lot of different charitable organizations that we can align by and build that community and make it fun, and do that. 100%. We also, on the other side, I mean, we're seeing virtual fashion shows. We're seeing pretty wild makeup looks coming out. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are experimenting with more makeup. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing some pretty wild eye looks. You know, a lot of blue eyeshadows, a lot of art house eyes, bejeweled eyes. It's really cool. And then, you know, I think the other thing too, at least that we're seeing skincare and self-care really at everybody's forefront, you know, and especially now as we go into winter and we're all, you know, isolated in home, skincare is really huge. And, you know, you don't really think about it, but when you buy these expensive skincare products, and most people's applicator tool is their own fingers. And so there's cross-contamination and other issues there. So we're looking at that as an opportunity for us to you know, expand into skincare and spa essentials and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Skincare, like applicators, or skincare products?
Yeah. So our position of strength and expertise is really on the applicator side. Sure. So although we're very interested in skincare and other makeup you know, I mean, just makeup, the world of makeup. I mean, you can't be on the applicator side and not want to kind of cross that divide into actual makeup products. You know, it's sort of like the grass is always greener kind of situation. But we really do have this expertise and can look at things like, you know, the chemical composition of some of these different formulations that people are using, and really get into the nitty gritty of, okay, well, this is how we need to modify this brush so that it stands up using this, you know, this cleanser that has this acid inside that will just eat through a normal brush, or, you know, this is how we're going to formulate our spatula brush so it really does work. Mm-hmm. So I think,
you don't even think of these things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's crazy. I can imagine taking a brush and then trying to use it for like a face mask, and then realizing like the face mask or the brush is all over your cheek. That would be a little freaky. So
yeah.
But that's super cool. Well, that's exciting. So, you know, to be honest, I had heard of the name, but I wasn't super, I didn't know too much about the brand before it was brought to my attention from your publicist either. So I applaud them. They're doing a great job, and I am very grateful for your time.
Thank you so much. You too. Bye.